Good morning, everyone. My name is Tony Cockmo, president of Civil CAD Learning Solutions, also president of the DFW BIM Infrastructure User Group. And thank you for joining us for another monthly webinar for our user group. Today, we actually have a great guest, Ramesh from Autodesk. And today he's going to talk about a general quick overview of what's new in AutoCAD ReCAP Pro 2027. So if you have any questions, this is going to be a great time to post questions in the chat. If you have any, if you're a beginner or an expert wanting to learn more things about ReCAP, definitely post in the chat. I can also unmute the mic if you have any questions and stuff. So Ramesh, take it away. It's good seeing you. It's been a while, but it's good seeing you. I've been following you on the emails about the latest updates and features I've been adding onto ReCAP. But yeah, take it away.
Absolutely. Hey, thanks everyone. Thanks for joining. Let me see. I was prepared to talk about the recap 2027. Then I thought maybe a good idea to just show you guys a glimpse of what is out there, just to set the context, basically, so that everyone's aware of it. Just give me 1 second. I'll pop it up, open. All right, that's the one. Okay. So let me share my screen. All right. All right, can you guys see my screen? Beautiful. All right, everyone. So again, like Tony said, I'm Ramesh. I'm with Autodesk for about 12 years now, leading our reality solutions team. The primary focus of the reality solutions team is how to get the point clouds into designers and modelers' hand so that you guys can get your job done faster. The fundamental philosophy we are having is people spend a lot of money and resource to collect millions and billions of points, not just to brag that we have terabytes of data. You collect that point for some purposes, and how to get there, how to make it easier. So we've been working on this for at least for last 2 or 3 years on several aspects. So what I'm going to do is show you guys 3 slides on what is already in the product, which has been there for a year or two. Then I'll jump into the 2027 latest features so that you guys can get caught up on it about that. And like Tony said, if you have any questions, I'll just keep that thing open on my screen so that if any questions come up, please let us know as well. First thing, when you get the large data, the product is ReCAP Pro. You bring it to ReCAP Pro, you import everything, which by the way, that part we are trying to optimize it moving forward. We'll talk about that later. Once you have the data, you want to share with your customers and your stakeholders to visualize and do something with it at the least. That's where this whole cloud-based visualization came into picture. We added this 2 years back or so. Fantastic tool. The idea here is publish this into a format, previously called ACC docs. Now you can visualize all those things, images and point clouds and everything from the browser. You don't have to download anything. If you're working with iPad Pro or something, I can actually show you guys do it on iPad Pro itself, make it much easier. I'm showing this as a buildings related data, but point cloud is a point cloud. The largest I have loaded is close to 1.5 terabytes of large railroad data, 1,500 scans or even more than that. And you can navigate and you can access it, you can measure it, use different visualizations, all those things. So first and foremost, how to visualize it, the point cloud. And the second, if we have a derivative like a segmented mesh or a mesh from point cloud, you can overlay on top of the model coordination your Revit models or your Civil 3D drawing, your AutoCAD drawing, anything that can go into model coordination, your Navisworks model, for example. Now you can visualize everything in model coordination just from the browser. You don't have to download anything. So you're collecting the data. You should not be jumping hoops to visualize it and wait for a week or two to visualize it. Make it much easier. So that is step number one, how to access it, share it, so your whole team, your customers and stakeholders can use it. The second piece is, now you have the information or you have the point cloud data. I want to use it for my detailed design workflow. For example, when you talk about detailed design workflow, 3 things pop up. One is I want to get the point clouds to create the surface, latest and greatest and accurate surface for my site design or whatever the process, or I want, not or, sometimes, and I want to extract the feature lines as a 3D polylines or something with the feature codes so that I can continue as a break line in my detailed design. And the third one is assets. It could be a generic assets like a trees and the signs and everything, or your manhole covers and the water inlets and everything to help you design the product. So that's where this comes into picture. You are extracting, what you're seeing is actually the browser looking at the point cloud data, set up a template, you set up a feature codes too. Now you can extract those 3D polylines directly from the browser and you can take it to Civil 3D. We started this as a simple line extraction tool a year or so back. Then we added with a more template concept what you're seeing, and what you're seeing is automation. You click the play button, it actually extracts continuously with every cross section, creates a template. You are in the driver's seat all the time. You can stop and start, you can modify anything you want. Heavy lifting is done by the automation, and the fine tuning as a expert, you can actually do it. At the end of the day, you get the extracted results into your design. And it's not just for the road. We can extract railroads. And if you think there is no template, you can actually use it a manual extraction to extract power lines. So anything you want to extract as a 3D feature lines, you can do from point cloud. And guess what? You can do it as the ADA ramps and driveways as well, much faster. I think I mentioned this before one time. One of our customers said it's about 25 to 30 seconds per ADA ramp or a driveway, extracting directly from the point cloud and take it to detailed design. On top of it, you can also extract assets like a cocoa points, street lights, signs, and everything. I'm not trying to sell you guys too much here. You can see a lot of attributes and properties you can fill. So it's not just the 3D points you're getting. You can actually add attributes, the quality and the status of those assets as well. At the end of the day, you can convert those large point cloud data into those lines and points and can bring it to Civil 3D the way you want to, all happening in the cloud. You're not downloading a single point cloud to do this. Everything happens in the cloud and take it to your design. You know what that means? That means your team can work together. Everything in the cloud, they work in parallel, in together, wherever they are geospatially, extract all those things, and the civil engineers can take that into Civil 3D. Since it's already feature coded, it comes exactly the way you want to and complete your design, making it much more powerful. The lot of capabilities. Last year, this release, we added some of the enhancements, the performance and the accuracy of these extractions. There is more in the plans moving forward as well. So this is what we call as a scan to design or scan to detail design. The third one is design is great. And then a lot of you guys also reached out to me. How about the 3D modeling aspect? Sometimes I need a parametric modeling, maybe for the bridge workflows or others. Or you're working on a station or something, you have the civil infrastructure design, you also have the 3D BIM model design that comes with it, because nowadays project has a combination of everything. How can I do that? Now I need to download and do a lot of stuff with it. What is the workflow? That's exactly what we added. We first started talking about this when we say let's do scan to BIM, and then we talked to our customers, do you guys like scan to BIM? Who's going to say no? Everybody will say yes. Even I will say yes. Then the question is, what do you create the BIM for? Then the answer comes, well, for visualization, the clash detection, the design verification, obviously the model coordination, measurements and construction and things like construction progress tracking, things like that. Then we thought, if those are your primary workflows, which encompasses like 95% of the workflow, can we do little bit smarter? That's where we came up with this concept called segmented mesh. Since this is from the last year's ReCAP Pro, you can create mesh from point cloud data, which by itself is not a groundbreaking. I know you guys can do the mesh long time, but what is new here is what we call as a segmented mesh. We want mesh to be more into functional arena. When you click on things, the software should know they are individual objects. If you want to remove the furnitures, you select and remove the furniture. So if you want to select the pipes or HVAC units, or it could be a infrastructure science or whatnot, you work as an object-oriented workflow, even though you're working in a point cloud reality capture domain. Converting that raw point cloud data into some sort of reality capture intelligence is a key aspect. For example, what you're seeing is on the screen, it's what we call as a segmented mesh for this building area. To convert this into an equivalent BIM model, it will take about maybe a week and a half or so. But to convert to the segmented mesh, we're talking about half a day to a day, give or take. But the cool part is with this segmented mesh, all those 95% of the workflow I mentioned in the beginning, like visualization, design verification, model coordination, clash detection, change detection, all those things, you can do it with this without having to spend that much extra time into create the BIM model. And I'm not, oops, sorry, let me play that again. And I'm not saying you don't need the BIM model. I understand there are some use cases as a user you want to create the BIM model. That's why we added the Revit plugin along with it. So now you can take this segmented mesh into Revit seamlessly, and you can actually convert that into an equivalent BIM model. You can either create it from the scratch or you can augment it from with already you have. Since it is a mesh, it's significantly lightweight, makes it your workflow much more faster, and you're not downloading gigabytes of data. You're working with the lightweight meshes, but with the information content that is absolutely needed for your workflow. So these are some of the foundations we put last year to add capabilities on this whole scan to detail design and scan to BIM workflows. Let me pause there for a second. Is there any question that pop up so far, Tony?
Not yet. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Let me quickly share my 2027 screen so that people can catch up on that. So, not surprisingly, for the 2027 release, we are working on how to enhance this workflow. Am I sharing the right screen? I think so, right? Yeah, perfect. So some of the capabilities we added to make this workflow optimized to take it to the next level on how to make the Revit workflows and the parametric modeling workflows as well. So out of all those things, I picked 6 of those features to highlight you guys, which most of them actually came from customer inputs like you. So hopefully you guys like it as well. And the first is application homepage. This has been a request for quite some time in ReCAP. So because ReCAP application home was slightly different or very significantly different than if you're used to Civil 3D or Revit or the AutoCAD workflow. So it was a little bit hard for customer to maneuver. On top of it, there is a ReCAP Pro project, there is a photo related project, multiple things are coming up. How to make it easier? So we spend time on changing the initial work homepage completely so that it behaves, look and feel like how you work in Civil 3D and Revit and everything. It looks very simple for maybe for the new users, but for the existing users, you can actually see this saves a lot of time. On top of it, here's a fantastic part I really like is having the learning tab in it. If you want any feature you need, you can just click on it. It opens a corresponding help page. You can get on with it much easier. It's like a one-stop shop for you to access all your reality capture projects, all your photo projects, any help needed for it, including the tips and tricks on using the product, making it much easier. And all comes in an interface or in your home page that you are more familiar with it. And this makes it much easier. Especially the one thing we included last year is open as a point cloud, open as a mesh, significant boon. Just to give you guys a hint of it, I'll just show you that screen to talk about. This is huge because especially when you're working on a segmented mesh workflow, just as a rough comparison, let's say you have 50 GB of point cloud data, okay, and you create a segmented mesh which could be about half a gig or a gig, for example, and you want to start opening that segmented mesh into the mesh editor workflow, the one I showed you on the previous screen on this furniture removal and all those things. But in the older version of ReCAP, to get to this 1 GB of segmented mesh, you have to download those 50 GB of point cloud also because of the priority capture project. Now I have to wait for this 50 GB even though I know that I'm not going to use it. Then we started thinking, why are we putting our users through this much trouble when they want to access, let them access what they want to access. That's why we added this capability. When you open, for example, right here on the screen, you open as a mesh, it takes only the mesh component from Pharma or ACC docs into your ReCAP. You can work on it significantly faster. Actually, if I do my comparison, 50 GB to 1 GB, it's 50 times faster, obviously, and get it there and get your work done. So those kind of what we call as a simple, a small feature that ends up saving a significant amount of time. It's something we spent a lot of time last year. I'm obviously highlighting few of those here. So that one is the home page. Second one is Autodesk Assistant. I'm sure you guys see all the products nowadays. Almost you cannot release any product without having some kind of an AI feature. That becomes it becomes illegal if you release without that. I'm joking. So We want to have this Autodesk Assistant for a long time because partly the reason is reality capture is not the product you use day in and day out like Civil 3D, right? Some things you want to catch up on, you want to brush up on. That's a little bit challenging. And also, when we talk to the customers, they are actually putting a lot of new recruits and new resources into reality capture because they have a lot of data, and the reality capture is much ReCAP Pro is much easier to start with and work with. So they're putting a lot of the resources in it. Why can't we make it easier? And that's why we added this Autodesk Assistant in the latest ReCAP Pro 2027. Concept is really simple. I'm sure you guys are experts in this whole LLM and assistant part. Now this Autodesk Assistant is integrated as a part of the ReCAP Pro. If you want to ask a question, just ask a question in your own language. Do you want to classify what is the workflow for this? And I want to get the new features of the last years and give me a summary of that. And maybe everything I'm saying today, you want to get a summary of it, you can just open the latest version, ask for it. And it also gives you a step-by-step efforts to get your job done and give you a proper link to access the help document to get it done as well. So the information is at your fingertips. This time, literally, it was always in your fingertips, but you have to go to the browser and access it and stuff. Now this takes you there and get your job done faster. And this is literally a tip of the iceberg. We just want to have that initial, for the lack of better word, documentation or the help documentation and help related access quickly. But we are planning to enhance this Autodesk Assistant even further. So in future, you can batch it and do some work for it as well. So keep tuning. We're going to have a lot of new stuff there. All right. The third one, I said 6 items, right? The third one is data interrupt. This is a big pain point for the users in the industry today. There are industry standard file formats like LAS and LAZs and E57s, but especially with the E57, different sensors, different ways to add the images. There's a backpack laser or the terrestrial LiDAR, all those things. Now V57 became a one file format, put all those things, which means too many options, too many different ways to get the data. Customers are having a little bit trouble on accessing it in a generic way. And we are keeping on top of it. In the latest one, we added a little bit more advanced options when you're importing the E57, especially on the image specific stuff. You're collecting point clouds, you're collecting the image 360 images with it. We really want you to use it to the full extent. So any mismatch happens, any image leveling happens. There are options there are data there, but we want to make it available to the user with as much simple settings as possible. That's the tough part on us, actually, honestly speaking. But the team did a fantastic job so that you can actually see there are simple options there. At the end of the day, when you import it, it all comes together the way you want it to. A lot of stuff happening behind the screen, you don't really see it. And honestly speaking, you don't have to see it. That's the whole point of it, right? How to bring those things seamlessly into the product in here. And that's the E57 thing. If you guys have, check this out, by the way, this has a lot more E57 related features in it. If you guys have any issues or any other challenges you have on this file format, not just specific to this, anything else, please reach out to us. We'll be happy to add those capabilities. We are trying to make this as much standardized workflow as possible. We're kind of moving towards in a direction where you literally drag and drop most of the settings, the software can read it, or default setting. You press OK, the software imports it and does a lot of stuff in batch and give you the results. That's kind of a one-click workflows we are moving towards. These are all stepping towards that. Cool. All right. And again, this is another thing. It literally, actually, this came from one of the feedback where customers spending a lot of time on just aligning the data before you even start using it. This saves you a bunch of time. And couple of features we continue to enhance this whole cloud-based visualization, because once the point cloud is in Forma, in the cloud-based visualization, which is nice by itself, but users want more customizable features so that they can use it more effectively, right? It's not just a visualization. How you visualize it and what kind of options I have, all those things come into picture. One thing came up multiple times last year is the point cloud display density. Sometimes I'm looking at a little bit farther, sometimes it's closer. I see very sparse, and when I zoom in some area, it's very sparse. And especially on the large data, you can actually see it. So we had the behind the screen tool. We made it explicit now. So now you can change it and you can actually visualize it. We got a fantastic feedback. The product got released literally a month back or so. This particular one was in the beta, and some of the users got back to us saying, thank you very much, because this visualizing on the cloud and get what they want. Remember, imagine connecting this with the feature extraction tool I talked about before, having to see things clearly and, sorry, show that, I just want to zoom in there. Having to see things clearly and extract exactly what you want and take it to design, save tons of time. Bear that in mind. This is a cloud-based visualization and feature extraction. You don't have to download it. So you're not spending time on upload, download. You are spending your valuable time on extracting exactly what you want and take it for your design. So that's a key aspect here. And then the fifth item is the view states. This is something also from the customer feedback. So when you're visualizing, let's say me and Tony is working on the project, and Tony has something visualize something in the area. He wants me to take a look at it. How can he convey that information to me? It's very hard, right? You need to give a what, X, Y, and angle view and all those things. In ReCAP Viewer, now you can set as a view state, both in the desktop, also in the cloud viewer. So now you can set up the view state, and Tony can say, hey, check out this so-and-so view state, maybe a issue or whatever you want to call it. And now all I have to do is zoom in there, click on the view state. It takes me to the location. It shows me exactly how Tony wants me to see. Like for example, here, this one is a ReCAP Pro, the desktop, and I have those view states set up. When I go here in the cloud, these are all the setup. When I click that, it takes me to that location, that view, exactly conveying the point. No confusion, no things get lost in translation, makes it much, much easier. And it's vice versa. Let's say I'm looking at something. Hey, Tony, this is great, but look at this. I found this one more thing, or I found one more fix or something. I can create a view state and I can provide that. And when I sync back, Tony can see it in the desktop or in the cloud on his side and take a look at this as well. No matter where you are in the world, you can actually now visualize it one project view as we are doing together on one screen. Makes it much more useful. This was a lot of inputs came up on the construction side and everything, but it was a very valuable tool overall. Yes, Tony. You're on mute.
So in the view stage, which I love, can you make comments on that view state and it would show up at the other end, or just take screenshots?
Both, actually, you
Both,
can have
okay.
annotation capabilities. It also syncs back. You can actually update
Yeah.
as by any images. It also syncs back. All are good.
Yeah. So I love the view states in the 25, 26, 27. I used to use view states for civil 3D, but now in 27, they renamed it as published to Forma Data Management, so kind of rebranding, but it's interesting on the recap, it's still called view states. So I guess it's one or the other, but I do love view states because I like to coordinate with the clients and contractors, whomever, third party with view states and stuff. So I think it's a group tool.
Absolutely. I mean, this is one of those things, right? Every time we talk in the point cloud, let's see the context of detailed design. People always see, get the point cloud, extract those lines, take it to design. That's it. That's been a workflow for last, what, 10, 15 years, 20 years. Nothing wrong in that. But there's more you can do with the point cloud. It actually is give you a snapshot of the existing condition. You can do more with it, and not just on the line extraction, like this visualization, the issues, or sometimes you are designing some. Actually, this came up in one of our customer sprint review calls. The customer shared one of the workflows where they are doing a detailed design, and there is the point cloud data was collected for that area. They have the lines and they're working on the design aspect, but they want to know where exactly is the manholes located and where is the inlet, water inlet, and there are trees and the fire hydrants there. They want to know those positions to design better, but they don't have those information in those lines, and they don't necessarily want to extract it. They want to visualize it so they can plan it better because they're obviously experienced civil designers. So with a click of a button, they open it in ReCAP Viewer, which is a Forma viewer. Now, I'm just using this example, what you're seeing on the screen here. I look at it now, it's, oh, okay, so this is there in so-and-so intersection area, it is angled this way, I get it. Now I can plan it so-and-so. Much easier. Imagine two things. Either people have to do it, wait for somebody to come and tell them, it takes a long time, or Worse, they make a mistake, they assume something and they make a design, then they have to change it later. It's even a costly mistake. So these kind of things is simple but much, much more valuable.
The next question I have is on the feature line extractor. We're doing on the cloud route, right? Does it download directly to ReCAP or can you download directly to Civil 3D?
Oh, the feature lines are exported as land XML or a DXF. You can take it anywhere you want.
Export it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we are working on seamlessly bringing it to Civil 3D as well.
Mm-hmm.
While we're thinking of it, we also understand the customer use other products more than Civil 3D. Sometimes we want
Mm-hmm.
the lines as a GIS element or whatnot. So we try to come up with a generic format
Mm-hmm.
like land XML and DXF. That's what one lot of customer words.
Yeah.
So we pick that. That's what we do.
Do you think y'all create a more of a dynamic way besides saying export? Let's say you export XML, but what if you're creating more extractions and you export it out? It'd be great if in Civil 3D it would notify me, hey, there's a new update to that XML. Do you want to update it? Kind of like a data shortcut or XREF.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Actually, that's exactly what we're working on this year.
Okay. And then my next question is I haven't tried this, but does it pick up striping? So if I got like a turn lane striping and stuff like that, does it pick up striping? That way we don't have to spend time creating all that line work.
Yes, you can extract
Yeah.
striping. You can extract at the water
Hmm.
ditches or some bottom of the ditches. Anything you want
Hmm.
to extract as a line, you can extract it.
Okay. Cool.
Cool.
Anybody have questions online? All right.
Okay.
I guess we're good.
Beautiful. All right. So that's a view state. And the last but not least on the 2027 is the templates and the categories. Now this is kind of more on the BIM, the mesh workflows. I call it as a BIM workflow, but basically the way I see it is as a reality capture intelligence from the point cloud data. So the idea here is I talked about segmented mesh, right? I also talked about the mesh editor. You can select those ceilings and furnitures and HVAC units and all those things. Um, but once you categorize them, you're going to use it somewhere, either in a Revit, or it could be in the Navis, or it could be in the model coordination, or it could be in the factory workflow, or even a parametric model for civil design. Which means we want to make sure we provide all the capabilities you need to categorize them properly, so that you don't have to spend more time later. Everything done here should be directly usable. So that's what these templates and recap categories are for. And then of course you can export that as a IFC format for a general purpose as well. This is a very simple example. I'm just to show you here. There are multiple things happen in the mesh. For example, I also already mentioned that there are some automatic classifications happening, like object recognitions happening in during the mesh generation. Also, if some customers ask, hey, I already have the point clouds classified, can you take that as an input also? I don't want to redo it. So this is very little of an extreme example of floors. I have it classified here as a floor 1, floor 2, floor 3, and the ground floor, for example. When you create a mesh, these classification information will be carried also. But imagine your mind extended. It's not just the floor. It could be object, or it could be in your civil infrastructure, trees and signs and what roads and center of the road, specifically from edge of payment to edge of payment. Whatever you want, now the software can understand it. It maintains that during the mesh generation process, so you're not losing anything. On top of it, when you're working with a mesh workflows, now you can specify your own template. You can actually create your own template, like a civil infrastructure template or your project specific template, so that everyone working on this project knows exactly what categories they're working on, and they can extract the features that can go there. We are also working on some automation workflows that can also leverage this template, obviously. And once you have this template with individual categories, now you can take those categories. When you take it to Revit, it becomes a Revit category, for example, or you can take it to Inventor or other workflows, makes a whole leveraging of the point cloud, leveraging of the reality capture intelligence in your downstream workflows makes it easier. And how you can take it, we provide in a different file format. We also support the industry standard file format, which is IFC 4.0, to make that workflow easy as well. So those are some of the things that came out in ReCAP 2027. Guys, any questions I missed out?
Somebody posted, where does this fall within RPLS oversight requirement per Texas law?
Justin, can you say a little bit broad on that question? Are you talking about the
Yeah,
fraction accuracy or so? I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that.
yeah. Can you kind of clarify a little bit more, Justin? Mm. And also, I guess if you can clarify also, some people may not know about what a E57 file support is.
You're asking.
What kind of software and what that is. Some people may not know.
So if E57 file is a generic file, I think pretty much this is very popular with the static terrestrial LiDAR. Basically, the
Hmm.
format was well established for getting the point clouds and images together, especially when they collected together. So if you're working with Leica sensors to get a terrestrial one, or the Faro sensors, and the Navis for a mobile backpack sensor, I think even Faro has a backpack sensor.
Hmm.
So any of those sensors you use to bring the data, E57 is the best vehicle because,
Hmm.
like I said, it captures the point clouds and the images. Um, you probably notice that everything I mentioned is a little bit different. One is a static, one is a backpack, and things. That's where
Hmm.
a little bit of a nuances come into picture. That's exactly what the E57 import tool does in ReCAP Pro. Um, long story short, any terrestrial lidar, like I mean, for example, infrastructure folks know this, right? When you extract a point cloud, give me as an LAS or LAC, that becomes a norm, right? You bring it.
Hmm.
Similarly, for terrestrial data, you can actually use it E57, and the recap does predominantly most of the heavy work. You just have to tell how you want to import it. All right, I think Justin mentioned drone data for any deliverables, including field data, not signed by, oh, RPLS, okay. Design work is the intent for the data to capture and processed, verified by the licensed surveyor prior to design use.
Oh, yeah.
I got you, Justin. I agree with that part. The drone data, you probably know this already, Justin. The drone data, at least the people usually refer it is from the images. You collect the drone images, you convert that into point cloud, and do this extraction. Which, by the way, you can also do it in the whole feature extraction. But since the nature of it, it is not that much high resolution. Images could be high resolution, but point clouds need not be, which means it may not be having that design level accuracy people are looking for, especially from the surveyor's aspect. It may not be true for every single project. I have seen some projects that the data is fantastic. I can actually see very clearly. But then there are some project I saw, it's just a big blobs of things happening there, so it's very hard to dissect it.
Yeah.
So that is why the drone data is usually not acceptable for the detailed design work. Having said that, the last couple of projects I worked with the customers is the drone with the laser. It actually shows a lot of potential. I see some lot of very crisp information, but the registration seems to be a little bit challenging. I think we are still getting better on that. I think those are the reasons. From the ReCAP Pro perspective, Justin, we we're not trying to make anything more accurate. We would really like to get the information as accurate as your point cloud data. So anything you bring it in, the feature extraction, points, lines, or whatever I'm saying, we'll try to bring that out as an intelligence, give it to you, but it obviously needs some good data to come in. So that's where I keep mentioning about the mobile lidars and terrestrial lidars to do that. Hope that answers your question, Justin.
Yeah, good question. Good question. Um, I think what else we have here. Now, I noticed in that feature extraction, um, that tool is also, correct me if I'm wrong, is also in InfoWorks, right? Or used to be?
That's it's still there actually.
So
Yeah,
okay, just make
yeah.
sure. Yeah.
So it's in a different flavor, but it's
Yeah.
also in works. But the purpose was different. Here, the purpose is different. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. I just remember playing with that tool and extracting stuff from InfoWorks and then throwing it back into Civil 3D. So yeah, that's good. So
yeah, yeah.
um let's see. Any other questions y'all may have? Now, I guess my question is, what are you seeing right now out in the industry? Are you seeing ReCAP used more on surveying side or like inspection for bridges and stuff, or more architectural inside scanning? Where are you seeing the most being used? Or is
Um,
it a mixture of all three?
It's kind of mixture of all three, but especially since last year, even a year before, since we started this feature extraction tool and the segmented mesh, the leveraging of point clouds in Civil 3D and Revit and also the cloud viewer just significantly skyrocketed because
Mhm.
one of the, like I said, the handling this large data into the detailed design, making it into smaller chunks, and some people have to cut into smaller files, which means if I have 100 GB of data, I have to make another 100 GB copy, which means then I cut into smaller chunks, which is another 100 GB, then distributing it, and it makes their life very, very tough. At
Mhm.
the end of the day, all they want is the accurate feature lines. So
Mhm.
having this cloud-based workflow significantly helped. And one of the touch point they're requesting is exactly what you said, Tony, how to make it seamlessly come into Civil 3D. The import export helps,
Yep.
especially for
Yep.
those users using different products. But for the civil engineer users, can you make it seamless? This is good, but it's an extra step I have
Yeah.
to go through. And also, it's a snapshot, right? If something changes, I have to redo it. That's the only
Yeah.
catch. It's not the end of the world, but make it better, obviously. So,
Yeah.
so those are the tools that comes in. So the request that comes in. So the detailed design we completely nailed down. We are adding more capabilities like automated rail extraction, automated the power line extraction, things like that to make the life much easier. But a fundamental part of feature codes we nailed down. That is, it's kind of like a ongoing business, right? On the industry side,
Mhm.
people have been using this for a long time. Now they are catching up to the new technology of cloud-based extraction. Nice to see. The segmented mesh, on the other hand, this is something everybody, when I talked to before, had it in their mind, but it's hard to put it into a words as an object, which is what I keep calling in today's session as a reality capture intelligence. The
Mhm.
point clouds has some intelligence behind it. How can I take that, extract and use it in my workflow? Don't just give me a visual backdrop. Like even the feature extraction, right? You use it as a visual backdrop. You use that to extract something. Why can't we use it directly from the point cloud? But it's always a where to start, right? It's always that's the catch. But
Mhm.
the segmented mesh kind of converts the equivalent object representation of the point clouds, really paves the way for the whole next generation horizontal BIM and the vertical BIM workflows. That's exactly what we're working on.
Okay. On the AI assistant, I know Autodesk is pushing the AI, heavily right now. Um, I'm hoping that with Autodesk, they don't try to push AI more for design, but more for reports, analysis, and QA QC.
Mhm.
Because we want people doing design. We don't want AI doing the work for you because you'll never learn anything. So I like to see AI doing queries or reports where I can input and ask questions like, hey, run a query on this information on my model, or hey, can you do a QA/QC of the model? And I think I'm hoping Autodesk pushes it that way right now. So
Mhm.
on the AI assistant for recap, what's some of the main tools y'all going to be kind of focused on?
Absolutely. I'm a firm believer. See, even if I give you a tool today or
Yeah,
even a year from now, let's say I call it it's a complete 100% automatic, I give you a result.
yeah,
You're not going to take that 100% automatic results and just start designing from it. You would
yeah,
like to QA, QC, and verify. That is
yeah, yeah,
needed. And imagine you want to spend the time on QA, QC takes almost the same time as extracting. Then what's the point, right?
yeah.
So I always, in my mind, I always think it's an automated workflow. The
Hmm.
heavy lifting part of it, what customers doing mundane thing again and again that makes they feel is a pain in the neck, make that automatic, but help leverage, put the user into the mix. So it's automated workflow. We are helping customers to accelerate it. And
Hmm.
that's been the philosophy even since the InfraWorks times. Actually, the InfraWorks tool actually had AI-based object recognition. It actually recognized trees and everything,
Yep.
but we
Yeah, I
still
remember.
had the automated workflow to bring the humans into the mix. So we are very
Yep.
particular on that, and definitely recap is also going in that direction as well. So what you're seeing is Autodesk Assistant today is more of a helping the workflow aspect. In future, it can give you some recommendation for a batch processing for
Hmm.
large point cloud preparation. Let's say you want to do I'll give you a very simple example. Let's say, like Justin mentioned, I collected a drone data and I have a site design project. I want to create a surface. Give me the surface, here's the point cloud. So you may not know what parameters to use to create the surface, you don't know how to exactly bring it in, but you know what you need to do in Civil 3D. So imagine an Autodesk assistant comes and say, hey, here's the point cloud, either today show me how to create a surface, it give you a step. Maybe in future, just do the batch processing for me. It does the classification. It gives you a surface point. Then you say, okay, take it to Civil 3D. Now you can create a surface and start working
Mhm.
on it. So now your life of leveraging that point cloud data, which was just a bunch of points and out of drone, into actual Civil 3D surface to do it, that we accelerated it, but the workflow brings it to you in the civil engineering place to make it happen much better. So
Yeah.
that's kind of a connected workflows is what we are thinking. This is just a one example.
Yeah. So we had Daryl post a question. I don't know if you saw
Yeah,
his.
let me see. We are using ReCAP to view point clouds of existing conditions for retrofitting new equipment and piping. This replaced going to the field with a sketch pad and tape measure, more accurate and complete. Absolutely, Daryl.
Yeah.
The one thing I did not go into so deep in this, the retrofitting of the new equipment and everything, you can use this segmented mesh workflow. I did not go through it that heavy in this video. But one other aspect is with this template and the categories is you can start thinking of, if you guys want, as a sustainability related attributes as well. So it's not just the object, what kind of a material it is, who manufactured it, maybe have those metadata so that your existing conditions is more and more richer beyond just a visualization aspect. The software we are working on, so something can help you accelerate that, but this is where we'd love to work closely with you on what exactly the tools we can add to make your life on this retrofit and renovation workflows go fine. Yeah, I hope, Daryl, you're using the segmented mesh workflow. If not, give it a shot. It's actually more effective.
Mhm.
And the clash detection, you can do a lot of clash detection also with the new equipment and old pipings and things like that. Thanks. And Justin said, can this be used for augmented reality model viewing, overlaying pipe? Absolutely. Actually, the segmented mesh workflow, everything I showed, I used to have a good video. Maybe I can try to find it. You can take that. Okay, let me rephrase that. You have the segmented mesh workflow, right? Here I'm showcasing as a, let me go up since you asked. If I go all the way up here, come on, play up. Let me go backtrack a little bit, Okay, pause. So here, imagine you have a point cloud data, Justin, and you convert it to a segmented mesh, and there's a mesh editor that gives you lots of power for you to play with it and categorize and everything. At the end, you have this option called NWC. You can export that as an NWC. You can take that into Workshop XR. You can have a virtual walkthrough completely. As a matter of fact, if you take this NWC, put it in a model format or ACC docs format, in the model coordination, you can start seeing clashes with the NWC with your Revit model or your drawing or something. Daryl, that might help your workflow also. It actually gives you clash detection results. On top of it, this NWC, along with your Revit models and drawings, can actually go into the Workshop XR. You can virtually walk through and measure, and since it's based in pharma, you can actually create issues as a issue tracking with this while you're walking through and everything. Now, fantastic tool. As a matter of fact, last AU, one of the success story with this reality capture based measures in the workshop XRS, I forgot the company name now. They started having this as virtual meetings, right? Now people are there all over the world, which is not,
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone say, even we are actually in different places in Texas and others. They all jump into the virtual call with the workshop of the VR glasses. They walk around and they find issues and things which they might not even see it, but they actually go in field as well. This virtual makes it much more superior. The number they said, like they found 50 or 60 issues in first half an hour or 40 minutes of the meeting in virtually, which is not even possible if you do in person. So it's a long way of questioning answering your question, Justin. Once you get into the segmented mesh, you can go to XR. You can even take it to digital twins. There's a tandem workflow. There's a tandem beta available. You can take this as a digital twin for operations workflow, visualize it, and do it as well. Tony, maybe we can have a separate session to talk about detail on that as well.
Yeah. I just posted a link also about Autodesk Workshop XR on the chat.
Perfect. Yeah. Yeah, this one, honestly speaking, more you guys start talking, I'm like very excited. I end up talking the whole day because this work was really pulling out things which we I talk to many people, right? We always think 4 years, 3 years back, 4 years back, we think, okay, I wish if I can do this. I wish if I can do with this because people are sitting on top of gigabytes of data. Now, this objectification of that makes those things possible one after the other. The things that are missing are kind of like a accelerate the object detection,
Hmm.
accelerate the attributes part of it. Like Daryl's thing, if I want to get some sustainability or some attributes in it quickly, how to do it. So those are the areas we're working on. You'll see me getting excited, me getting being
Hmm.
exercised as we get the next release and things like that.
Yeah. If y'all don't know, Ramesh actually releases, is it a monthly email notifications about the latest updates and what you're working on? Do you want to post a chat for them to register if they want to register for that monthly notification?
Absolutely. Actually, it's a I call it as a Tuesday tidbits. I like to give it every Tuesday.
Every
Small,
Tuesday? Okay.
yeah, because people are busy. I totally get it. Even I'm really glad people joined today and who are watching the recording. People have a lot of real work to do, right? So the
Yep.
sessions they know it is useful, but they don't have time. So that's why the Tuesday tidbits literally it's a read time of 3 minutes to 5 minutes or less than that. So get some really core thing that increases the performance. That's something they can use it that day onwards. That's what we try to put in the Tuesday email. Anyone's interested, please let me know. I'll be happy to do it. It's every week. Sometimes I skip a week based on but others are busy or I'm busy. But we try to get that information as quick as possible. So yeah,
Yeah.
thanks, Tony.
Yeah, I get the notifications all the time, and when I have some free time during lunch, I always go check out, what's out there. So, so I highly encourage people, when the best time to learn is during lunch, sitting there eating a lunch and reading somebody's blog or watching an Autodesk YouTube video. That is literally what I've did for 20 years, is just to eat lunch and watch videos and learn, because we know we're all busy, so sometimes some people are getting there early, some people are staying late after work just trying to finish up a project. We totally understand that. That's why we record these webinars too, so people can go back and watch the videos, during their free time. But yeah, highly encourage people to during their lunchtime watch and read, some of the Autodesk blog websites and video recorded videos and stuff like that. So and then you can pick up little things here and there.
Absolutely. And Tony, seems like some of the folks are interested in the Tuesday tidbit. So if you can provide some, either provide my information to them or something, so that they can reach out, you can add them.
Yeah, I'll email everybody that attended and registered your contact information, so that way they can sign up for those notifications, the weekly notifications about recap. um, and go from there. So, any other questions? We're going to go ahead and start wrapping this up. I don't want to take up any more anybody's time, but any additional questions? We had some really great questions from everyone. Um, we did record it, so hopefully by the end of the week or a few days, I will post this on our YouTube channel. And I'll send you also Ramesh's email. That way you can ask additional questions and stuff. But I want to thank everyone for joining. We had a great video, great questions and stuff. So Ramesh, thank you very much for your time presenting and stuff. So great stuff, new stuff. I actually just downloaded 27. I thought I had 27, but I actually had 26. So this morning I went and downloaded 27. So, but yeah. But all right, well, thank you, everyone. Thanks for Mish, and stay tuned for our next webinar next month, and keep on learning. So, thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.